that don't know me, I'm Seamus for today. So welcome everybody. Let me just look this here. Okay, lots of people. Still a few more coming in, I think. Is there?
I think you're okay to start.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, good morning, everybody, to week 4 of our Visit Cork familiarisation sessions. We're just delighted with the interest and the feedback we've been receiving on these sessions. It started off as a very simple concept, and you know, I think people are finding that they're learning from each other, and they're learning for when everything gets back to normal and itineraries will be rolled out and programs will be developed. So we're really delighted with that, and it's great for us to see some friendly faces and familiar faces and new faces as well. So that's great. We've had each week we've had an average of up to 100 people actually registering for each session, which is phenomenal. And then in real life attending, we've had anywhere of 70 to 80 up to 85 people. So that's great. We were just chatting earlier, you know, about it's I suppose the ease of doing it online versus the lack of meeting each other in real life. So, and I think people are keen to learn about each other's products. And an email came in last week from one operator who said the sessions are excellent, so good to get to know the people behind all the operations. And I think that's it. Everybody wants to have a contact and a face that they can put to a name when they want to go to somebody and discuss options for itineraries and everything like that. So we have 3 very good, we actually have 4 speakers with 3 attractions being represented here this morning. We have both Mary McCarthy and Diane Hanrahan from the Crawford Art Gallery. Katrina Fenton will be up next from Leahy's Open Farm. And then we have Ewan Patterson from Clonakilty Distillery. So I'll go ahead and just introduce Mary and Diane from the Crawford Art Gallery. Mary McCarthy is the director, and Diane is the marketing and communications manager at the Crawford. Funnily enough, Diane, I was thinking earlier, it was actually this time last year, a little later in the year, that we met, and we were talking about taking over the world, one event at the Crawford at a time, and we went through all of the saleable experiences that you were developing, and all of the, you know, even talking about gallery after hours bookings for corporate meetings. And little did we know what was ahead of us less than a month later. It's just, you know, it's phenomenal. When I was looking back on notes and thinking it was late February that we sat there and didn't have a care in the world. But we're looking forward to hearing from yourself and Mary this morning. So I'll let it over to yourselves now to let us know what you've been up to at the Crawford.
Thanks very much, Evelyn, and good morning, everybody. I'm Mary McCarthy, the director, and Diane is our marketing and communications manager. So we're just going to do a little double hander on talk through. I suppose, first of all, real thanks to Seamus, Evelyn, and Jeremy for facilitating us today, because Pure Cork and all of you are a really important part of our work. I think in Ireland, I hope you recognise the outside of this building, the Crawford Art Gallery, located right in the centre of Cork City. And I suppose culture is a really important part of our DNA in Ireland. And I think we've seen that particularly in the lockdown. And we hope that we continue to see culture as being a vital part of the road to recovery, particularly the experiences and in supporting all of you getting back up and successful. We're devastated to be closed. We were open for a short period there from level 3 to level 5. And we know from the government perspective, there will be a low appetite to open anything up outside of the school, so that we're more likely to be open mid-late summer. We're hoping by autumn at the very latest. A little bit of a history. So this magnificent building, this part of the building that you're seeing, was the former Customs House. So we have a long historical lineage in Cork. The Customs House was built in 1724, and right outside the water where Emmett Place is, right in the heart of Cork, would have been George's Dock. So literally it was on the water's edge. The beautiful bell tower with the clock you see there, we wind that clock up every 2 weeks. So that's an actual working clock. A second wing of the building was built in 1834 for the expanding kind of art school. So when the Customs House moved out of this block, another wing was built, because the building became the Royal Cork Institution, Institute of Learning, very much ahead of its time, a forerunner of UCC and CIT. It was dedicated to the application of science to the common purpose of daily life. What a great thing to say, even today, actually. And it really looked at kind of arts and science and engineering. So it was very kind of ahead of its time. Then the next image you see here is the Canova cast. And I suppose these amazing cast collection that Diane's going to flick on just the next image. The cast collection came to Cork in 1818. And these are very rare and very unique to Ireland, actually, a set of classical sculptures made by the Roman sculptor Canova. They came to Cork by very fortuitous and are really the reason why the Crawford Art Gallery is there today. They're the start of our collection. They were given as a gift from Britain to Ireland. And really, it was a storage problem. And we can well identify with storage problems in our business, that they didn't really require them in the UK anymore. So they sent over in excess of about 150 casts to Cork. They were primarily would have been used for scientific learning for anatomy students and indeed art students. They were originally displayed in a theatre off Patrick Street. If you stand beside the Chateau Bar on Patrick Street, you'll see a plaque on the ground. There was a theatre on Patrick Street where they were actually housed. Then they came into our galleries in the mid-1800s for this wing that was built by Crawford of Crawford Brewery, specifically to house these and to start the art school. And the building we're currently now in was indeed an art school to 1979. So it was this incredible site of maritime history, I suppose, learning, academic research, and also then art schooling. And that really is a unique part of our DNA, to be a gallery that actually was a site of learning, and very much directly to the Kensington School of Art. So there is a big kind of history of Cork, I suppose, linked internationally as an international institution. Indeed, we became a national cultural institution in 2006. So what does that mean? National Cultural Institution is one of 11 institutions nationally that's designated by the state to be of significance. So we're funded directly by government. We're the only one entirely outside of Dublin, and it means that we house the national collection. And I suppose that's a very important point for us as a kind of marketing and a unique distinguishing factor to be one of these institutions. Collections are the DNA of what we do, and we have some very significant, over 4,000 artworks in our collection, including these casts. But we also have works from the Great Southern Collection, the AIB Collection, and Stafford Gibson, who was a Cork man who bequested us the equivalent of about €1 million in 1919. So there's been always, I suppose, a great loyalty to this organisation, both historically and in contemporary times. We've recently, through COVID, just in the process of finishing spending €400,000 on acquiring works by young artists, by artists who are making work right now in an effort to build a collection and also to support artists at this particular time. I suppose moving along to some slides, we tell stories through our history and our collection, and I suppose collections are the DNA of museums. And I think what's really interesting for us is a visitor experience. We can articulate different insights into Ireland and indeed Cork through our collection. So it's through the artworks that we tell stories. We host a wide range of exhibitions, both from historical exhibitions to contemporary. And we also have a very active and wide learn and explore program where we reach out into the community. Right now, our artworks are in venues, both in the President's, in the Auras. The President chooses from our collection to be in his domestic and, as well, civil residence. So our collection is considered quite prestigious, and that's a great prestige for Cork and indeed the Crawford Art Gallery. We're also touring our collection in various museums in Italy, in Northern Ireland, and it's very highly requested. So there's a very high authentic value to the artworks that we have. I suppose just while we're looking at the building, to note, we're also in the middle, we've got approval for a 28 million capital programme, and we're shortlisting architects for that firm right now, actually. So what that'll mean is that the building will get a significant upgrade, be far more fit for purpose, be more pronounced in its city environment, so that it'll be much more visible to you as a visitor. We have a very loyal visitor following, but we'd like to have a much more, I suppose, public presence in the place and in the city. We're really acutely aware of our really prestigious location downtown in the middle of the city, where it's very easy for people to visit us. Diane's going to take over now a little bit on the visitor experience, and I'm going to come back to talk about the spaces and exhibitions at the end. But just while she's rolling through these, you'll see the very different sorts of exhibition spaces that we have. We have the kind of historical quarter, so that if you're interested in architecture, you can come in here and see the finest remainders of architecture from the early 1800s, right up to contemporary architecture of Van Eckert. So if you're interested in architecture, art, history, maritime, learning, you have a great opportunity to explore both architecture and art in this downtown venue.
Thank you, Mary. So just on this slide here, as you'll see, we have multiple venues showing you different exhibition spaces. The top right here, we have our screening room, and on the left, the long room. Here below left is the upper gallery, and to the right, you have the Gibson Historical Galleries. And I just showing you here, as from a visitor experience perspective, we're delighted, particularly at this current time, to have a beautiful outdoor restaurant space that we can offer the public, as well as our award-winning indoor gallery cafe, which is very popular. And I'm sure lots of you who have visited the gallery have also visited the cafe. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take you into, just to give you a little sneak peek behind the scenes into the gallery. For those of you who haven't visited, it'll give you a kind of an idea. And I'm not going to go through the entire 3 floors. I'm just going to take you into the sculpture gallery so you can see what the experience might feel like. This is a sculpture by John Hogan of William Horatio Crawford, who Mary has mentioned earlier, benefactor. And these are the Canova casts that you're seeing here, the Laocoon. I won't go through everything because I know the time is limited. It's so lovely to see them all again. And now I'm going to just take you upstairs to the next floor. This feature is shortly going to be available on our website, so you'll be able to have the tour yourself. Now I'm going to take you for a behind the scenes sneak peek of our library, which is seldom seen by visitors. Of course, this would have been, if you can picture back to when it was the Customs House. Beautiful space overlooking Opera Lane, the main shopping centre, and Emmet Place on the other side. So you've gotten a real behind the scenes sneak peek there. And now I'm going to take you back out just to give you a little idea. Sorry, my driving, I don't have the full license for this particular item, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm taking you back out now onto the Gibson Galleries. Here you'll see on the left a familiar face, I'm sure you all know, an image of Roy Keane by Murdo MacLeod. Beautiful, missed that. And now I'm taking you back into the Gibson Galleries. And here you see our beautiful bifurcating staircase. And I'll bring you back. This is the long room ahead, but I'm going to Louis Le Brocquet work here, you might be familiar with. It's terrible to have to rush through all of these paintings, each of which has a beautiful story behind them. But you'll see, I suppose, the diversity of the works as well. For example, here on the left, you'll see a work by recently acquired into the collection. Whoops, missed him there. We'll go back. By Stephen Doyle, a Cork artist, Dylan Sanam Dum, contemporary work. And then we go into our Gibson galleries, our beautiful historic galleries, and you'll see works by well-known Irish painters such as Jack Yates here on the left, and Mary Swansea, the wonderfully colourful Samoan scene, and on into our back Gibson gallery. And I'm just going to highlight 2 of our works because I think we really do need to see those to get a full feeling for the gallery. This, of course, is our beautiful Red Rose, Lady Lavery, painted over 400 times by her husband, Sir John Lavery. And I'm going to show you, I suppose, one of the works that many of you will know, not just from the gallery, but from, for example, the Atlas of the Revolution. It would have been on the cover of that, and recently made into a commemoration stamp. Of course, this is Sean Keating's Men of the South. And I'm just going to show you into our upper gallery, which is a contemporary space. As Mary said, there were additions to the Crawford Gallery over time, and this was one of those by Dutch architect Van Eckert. So that just to give you a small taster of what it's like inside the gallery. And I hope that you'll very soon have the opportunity to come in and visit us and see all 3 floors. So I'm just moving on, and every visitor who enters the gallery is equally important to us. And here we see some of the better known faces who have recently visited us. Just want to say that on the left here, we have the well-known classicist Mary Beard, caught in a compromising photograph, who recently filmed for a BBC series, The Shock of the Nude, when we were doing a conservation project on the fig reveal, we called it, on the Canova cast in the gallery. So we were delighted to feature on the BBC programme that she produced. In the middle, you'll recognise when we had Prince Charles to visit. Their Royal Highnesses were delighted with their tour, and actually in the back you'll see a portrayal of Prince of Wales, which he was delighted about in the painting behind. To the right, you'll see Fiona Shaw, and this lovely work of Fiona Shaw's by Victoria Russell is a very popular work in our collection, and she was very kindly came to visit us and pose with her work and speak to our audiences. I seem to have a small technical problem here, which I'm going to try and, oh, I have it. Also, just to show, I suppose, the diversity of our audiences and what happens in the gallery. Some of you may have been following Other Voices and the Courage series recently, you'll see on the top left. But also we have a very active Learn and Explore programme, which reaches out to schools and other audiences. You'll see here, Bamena Fairhill at the lower right hand. So one of the groups that we see on the right hand side where you see the hand, we also cater to visually impaired with special tours. We work with children in direct provision, and our Crawford studio for individuals with specific health or social needs. We also have LUNRA, which is for groups and older adults. So though we are closed, regrettably, and we do have a very active online program. In 2019, the gallery welcomed 265,000 visitors. And at the start of 2020, we looked well on target to exceed that number. A lot has changed, but now sometimes we're exclusively online. And though there is no substitute to seeing our visitors, we do enjoy, I suppose, the extended reach of being online and through our social media. So before I hand you back to Mary, I just wanted to conclude by encouraging you to take a look at our online activities. There really is genuinely something for everyone in these. Students, for example, sitting exams, preschoolers, older adults. You can enjoy jigsaws at home. You can even grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and enjoy our mini tours of the artworks on the collection. So just hand you over to Mary now for she's going to talk to you about the 2021 programme. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane, and I'm conscious of time now, so I'm just going to give you a quick look forward. I suppose, as Diane has mentioned, we've had to pivot online, probably like all of you. And in a way, that's been a really exciting opportunity for us because we've extended our reach. We know that the online visits are going to remain, and it's given people an opportunity to get closer and closer to our programs in ways that they may not have felt comfortable with by coming into the gallery. And the one thing I'd kind of say to you is that you don't have to feel overwhelmed about the Crawford. There's a lot of work on show at all times. There's over 400 artworks on the wall. But you can come in for 5 minutes or an hour and a half. Our average visits are about an hour, and some include lunch and the cafe, but you can really dip in for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a big commitment. And that's something I'm really keen to say, because I know when I go and it's going to take half the day, I can sometimes be weighing that decision up. You can really visit us for a very short period of time if you choose. And I think looking at the online program will really kind of enable you to be very familiar before you visit the gallery. We this year are program. So while the doors are closed, we're installing shows and de-installing them as if we're open, because we're turning them into digital exhibitions. Next coming up is the Zurich Portrait Prize Extraordinary. It's coming down to us from the National Gallery. It looks at portraiture. The work would blow your mind. The young people's work in that show is incredible. Then we have a number of collection shows on, and we have a very exciting show for the commemorations opened by Darragh McGrath, which is going to be hung in the Crawford in April, but it'll be an online exhibition if we remain closed, which looks at the sites in Cork where people were killed in the burning of Cork. So the average street where people have gotten shot or died in, putting up a picture of the site of where they died and the narrative around them. We're also got the first time ever in Ireland, an international artist, Doug Fishbone, who's making commentary on social housing. So that's a big coup for us. And we also have this link of national, international, and collaborations with our sister institutions in Dublin. I suppose the big highlights for the autumn are going to be, we have a Rembrandt show, Rembrandt on print, first time ever in Ireland. And we would hope this is a big Come to Cork national marketing campaign for when we reopen, and we feel fairly certain we'll be back reopen in September. And this is a show that's coming to us from the Ashmolean in Oxford. And again, because of our national status, we can borrow these works, which are worth in excess of 50 million, to come to Cork. It'll be the only time in Ireland that people will get to see these. And once these works, which are quite small, go back into storage in Oxford, they're not going to come back out for public view for many a year because they're so sensitive. And then we're pairing that with a show by Irish artist Brian Maguire, who's made an incredible series of works about people crossing the Arizona border. So it's very much about border crossing. So I suppose to conclude, because I know our time is up, I suppose we really want to work with all of you in ensuring that we have an offer in Cork and in Ireland to, in the first case, attract our national visitors to see it. We know that we might be relying on national tourism for a while. We will be getting back to our Sunday tours and our Sunday family activities as soon as possible. I know there are many of our colleagues here from the other cultural institutions in Cork, and I think the cultural field in Ireland, and particularly in Cork collectively, we can work with all of you, be it in the Cork and the wider region. I'm conscious of our colleagues from Clonakilty, that people can dip into Cork and journey on to West Cork, Kerry and the region from these cultural institutions. You will see more of us in the public domain. We have a very exciting new campaign down by the railway station at the minute of taking our artworks outdoors. So we're going to continue to innovate and to bring our collections to you, the public. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mary, and thanks, Diane. I can just see from the chat comments there that there's phenomenal interest in the Crawford, and people are missing it so much. And I think both of you just gave a fantastic overview there of what the gallery can offer, and also the innovative plans that you have, and everybody thinking outside the box and learning to adapt. So it's great to hear that. So we might just wait for, if anybody has any questions, that, you know, feel free to jump in now if it's specifically for the Crawford. Otherwise, we can go on to the second and third presentation and do questions at the end. If anybody does have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, I think I can't spot anybody there. Jeremy or Anne, can't? No. I think what we'll do is Jeremy's going to introduce our next speaker, Katrina Fenton from Leahy's Open Farm. So over to you there, Jeremy.
Yeah, so next up we have Katrina from Leahy's Open Farm, a family business in East Cork and a great day out for people of all ages. We were just discussing earlier how Leahy's would be so busy at the moment during a midterm, especially while we have a bit of dry weather at the moment, and it's such a shame that attractions like this and the other attractions we have today are closed at the moment. But I suppose it does give us the chance to hear from people like Katrina behind the scenes about the great work they do. So if you want to take over there, Katrina.
Thanks very much, Jeremy. So I'm just going to share my screen there now. So thank you everyone for coming today and give me the chance to talk. I'm just going to talk about Leahy's and the farm. I suppose Leahy's is fun for all the family and has been so since 1996, and that's when Eddie and Eileen opened the farm. So I just played the video here. This is a drone video that James Jeffries did for us recently, and you can see the whole 40-acre farm. In the last few years, we purchased 8 acres of the forestry land, which you can see in the background. And the purpose of this was to really kind of expand our learning offerings to schools and kids as well, doing ecology tours and so on. And we've extended our quad and barrel train track. But as I said, Eddie and Eileen opened the farm in 1996, and it combined Eddie's love of vintage machinery and Eileen's love of baking. Eddie will always tell people when they went to the bank manager to get a loan to open the farm, and he looked at where it was and the land they had, he said, "You're mad, it'll never work." And here we are. Leahy's is open 25 years this year. Later this year it'll be open 25 years, and it's just a true testament to the hard work and grit of Eddie and Eileen that we're all here. I suppose just a bit about myself. I have been working at the farm since I was 14, 15. I started off as an elf. Have had various roles in Mrs. Claus, tour guides, and so on and so forth. But when I was 17, I did my work experience in a PR agency and I fell in love with marketing. And I came back and I said to Teresa and Donna Leahy, and they would be Eddie and Eileen's son and daughter-in-law. I was like, I've seen all these ideas, these great ideas that could be used for your marketing. Would you mind if I, told you about them? And they were like, I told them, and they were like, do you want to start doing the marketing? So since then, I've been doing the marketing for Leahy's. I just finished my undergrad in marketing in CIT, now MTU, and I'm doing my master's in digital. So that's just a little bit of context. I'm no relation to the farm, even though me and Eddie are constantly asked, are we grandfather and granddaughter, but we're no relation at all. So that's just a picture of the farm when it's first started. So the farm is located in Condonstown, Dungourney, which is about 20 minutes from Middleton and about 20 minutes from Fermoy, 45 minutes from the city. And the farm was always a traditional pig farm, and they had a few dairy cows, and you can see that in the old farm up there on the behind. And the cottage in the bottom of the screen is where Eddie was born and the first 4 of their 7 children. And that farm still stands there today, but you can see the new house that was built just below the yards there as well. And I suppose in 1996, Eddie had collected all of this vintage machinery, all of these amazing antiques. If you go into the museum at the farm, there is things and artifacts dating back to the famine, and Eddie has a story for absolutely everything. It's amazing and fascinating to go through it with him. But they decided anyway that they would open the farm just as a place to showcase the collection, and then it grew to a tea rooms with Eileen's home baking, and then they started adding on little playgrounds and slides. And then I suppose the real turning point was when they opened the Santa experience. They started doing Santa every year. And they were one of the first to really do that kind of an event of its kind. And it attracts thousands of people every year. It's our busiest time. We get people contacting us in May and June trying to book for Santa, and this year was crazy. I think it was more for the adults than the kids, I think. They just wanted a small bit of normality. But it's grown in popularity over the years. We now have 12 full-time staff, and we could have 20 to 30 full part-time staff during the summer. Many of them are students, but they're just a great bunch. I started off there when I was young as well, and it was a great stepping stone in my career. And and Donal and Teresa, it's very important to them that they are creating local employment as well. So it's really great to be a part of that. So Leahy's Open Farm, they're like, when I say there is something there for all the family, I'm not joking. I've brought my 80-year-old Nana there. She loves it. I've brought, 2-year-old nephews and nieces there, and they adore it. I've even brought my own friends, and we're 23, 24, and we have as much crack as the children do. So at the farm, we have the JCB mini diggers. We have 4 2-ton mini diggers that the kids can safely operate themselves. So they can dig, they can hook ducks, they can knock bowling pins. But to say the happiest person I ever saw on those diggers was a 40-year-old man from West Cork, is no lie. He was elated. It was his dream to drive a digger, and he was able to do that on the farm. We also have the mystery maze. We do petting time with the animals. Traditionally, we would have done this at 1, 3, and 5, but just to help with crowd control and so on, we do that continuously now throughout the day when we are open. We used to do the pig races, and we hope to get back doing that as well. The quad and barrel train ride is everyone's favourite. You can see that in the bottom of the screen, and that goes up through the forest. We have the big drop slide. The fire engine is always a huge hit with all the little boys. The museum, as I mentioned, is just full of Eddie's pride and joy. That is Eddie's pride and joy, and we've extended that in recent years as well. And the ice cream and chocolate factory, we built that in 2018. and we started making our own Leahy's Open Farm ice cream, which I'll go into in more detail. But the Ice Cream and Chocolate Factory has been a game changer for us in terms of doing birthday parties. So of a Saturday and a Sunday during the normal term year, we could have 4 to 5 birthday parties. Now, obviously, we're doing that a bit differently this year at a reduced capacity. But when we built the Ice Cream and Chocolate Factory, it gave us the capacity to add on more of those birthday parties. We also do communions, confirmations, christenings. We've done a few hen parties, which were unreal crack. Everyone loved them, and we loved doing them as well. And we also do workshops. So we've done them with active retirement groups. We've done them with mocker groups. So where they get to learn about the history of chocolate, make their own chocolate molds, and packaging up all their different creations, which is great. And we were just really getting into doing this with TY groups. So we would bring them in, and they would do half the day up the woods with Matt, doing ecology and doing their field experiments. And then the rest of the day, they would come down and do the chocolate making. So that was just taking off, and we had a lot of schools booked in, and it was great, revenue source for us during the off-peak season. But again, due to COVID, all of that has been put on pause, but we're really looking forward to getting into that space and really developing that side of the business when we can. So we are open all year round. April to September, we are open every day. So from the Easter holidays onwards, we are open every day, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then October to March, it is weekends only, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now for Christmas, it's usually Thursday and Friday evenings, Saturday and Sunday. But for this year, with all the demand we had, we actually ended up opening all day Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were closed Mondays and Tuesdays, but we just had to keep expanding the spaces we had available. But I suppose a good rule of thumb, when the schools are off, we are open. And if you are unsure, you can check our Facebook or Instagram. We always have updates up there, or you can give us a call or DM us. I'm always there on the phone. So entry to the farm is €10.50 per person, and under 2s go free. This year we had to implement essential online booking just because to keep things at a safe number. If things were anyway dry like the weather is today, like this midterm would have been ideal for us. We'd have been very busy, but we just had to keep things at a safe number to ensure everyone was safe. And there was days, unfortunately, during the summer, we had to turn people away because we were at maximum capacity. But eventually, as the word got out there, people did kind of understand that they really did have to book. But even it was mind blowing, because even on days where, in other years there wouldn't be a sinner, if there was rain pouring out the heavens, we thought there would be nobody there, and we were actually, kept going. So really, like, we just saw so many unforeseen circumstances this year. It was mind-blowing, really, to kind of sit back and look at the numbers and just see like a 360 flip of our customers' behavior. And that's one thing I always learned in college was, the importance of knowing your customer. And I suppose for me, like, doing marketing and being a young adult, and our target market is usually parents with kids and stuff, I find myself following a lot of parenting bloggers and stuff, but the customer really is central to our business. One thing I always go back to is Fergal Quinn and his theory that your customer should be like a boomerang. You want them coming back. And even for Donal and Teresa, who took over the business from Eddie and Eileen, the son and daughter-in-law, it's really about families having a good day out. That's really what is central to them. Like, when you go onto the farm, you pay your €10.50 entry. Besides that, the only things you have to pay for really are the crazy golf and the diggers if you want to do them. And they, as parents themselves, they know the hassle of taking your kids out and them running back to you every 5 minutes. I want money for this. and they really put themselves in the shoes of their customer and look at what they want as parents and visitors to an attraction. So very much so, customers are at the heart of the experience. And we're delighted to say, you know, people love the farm and we always get great feedback. And, you know, it's always great to log onto Instagram and see people tagging you and things. And, you know, user-generated content, another buzzword from college. You know, some of the pictures we get tagged in are way better than any picture I could stage on the farm or take myself of a normal day. You know, it's the pictures, the action shots of real families that are really the greatest. So throughout the year, we have many seasonal activities. Easter weekend is always a big one for us, and we didn't get to run that last year. And unfortunately, I don't think we will be getting to run that this year. Last year, we pivoted, another buzzword, we pivoted the business and we did chocolate mold kits, so chocolate bunny making kits that we sold through Facebook because we didn't have it set up on the website yet. So we had kits with the little plastic mold and the chocolate, and kids could make their own chocolate Easter bunny. And there was huge interest for that over Facebook and Instagram, and we were taking orders and ringing people back to pay and so on. But it was just phenomenal to see the support from people and to see that there was an online demand for our products. So since then we have developed an online shop, and we do sell chocolates and confectionery and so on through that. At Halloween, we had a Halloween event planned this year for October, our Boo event, where we do haunted hay rides and potion making with the witch and pumpkin carving and so on, and Halloween chocolate lollipop making. And that's usually a big hit every year. But again, COVID got in the way of that. But as soon as it's safe for us to do it again, we fully plan to do it again. It's a huge hit every year, even to see the adults dressing up for it. It's great. And even when all these events are running, there is just such a great atmosphere around the farm. You know, everyone's in good form, everyone's having fun. The place is all decorated. It's just, oh, I love when all of these events are going on, just because of the buzz. And our summer camps as well, we run these every year, and we launched them this year and they sold out within half an hour. I sent an email out to our members and the first 4 weeks were sold out. So we just kept adding on weeks, and we're quite lucky that a good few of the girls that work with us are actually studying primary teaching. So they are just great at working with the kids and doing different activities with them, you know, arts, orienteering, science-based things, chocolate lollipop making. You know, they have a great time, the kids, during the week. So that's just a little taste of some of the activities we do, and I'll talk you through what we do at Christmas in just a second. But I suppose in 2019 we had 70,000 visitors to the farm. Now, I don't have the total figures for 2020, but we were quite lucky. It wasn't far off that, because we were at maximum capacity most days during the summer. Now, even though the capacity was reduced, it still was very close on those numbers. And we also do an annual membership as well. And all of our memberships have been extended just in case we have any members in the audience. But you can buy a family membership to the farm, and you and your family can come to the farm as many times as you want during the year. You get a reduced rate for Christmas and Halloween. And I suppose we do run it slightly differently to other attractions that do memberships. It's only for the people that hold the membership card. So you have your membership card with your own picture on it, your name and your expiry and so on. But we've had great success with the memberships, really great. And, you know, some of the members we have are nearly like friends at this stage. You know, they're coming in the door, you know what the kids are going to order, you know what they're excited about. I know I used to work on the entry desk, and I'd know this one boy coming in, and I just knew he was going to ask me, had the cows been fed yet, because he used to love going up and giving a hand to feed and so on during petting time. And it was that customer bond. And I think that's what people love about Leahy's as well, is that they get to meet Eddie as well. And Eddie, if any of you have met him, more than likely will ask you where you're from, and he'll know someone from there, and he'll be after collecting an antique from there, but he'll sit down and he'll talk to everyone and has time for everyone. And it's really that family element that comes through, and that authenticity. And it's something that we never want to lose. And I think that's one of our biggest, USPs, our unique selling points is that authenticity and family orientation. So every year we run the Christmas event, as I mentioned, and this year, again, pivoting, we had to change things around, and we did Santa in the barn. So typically, Christmas at the farm, you go through the different rooms. So you go into the Enchanted Forest, then into Mrs. Claus, where you make cookies, into Elf School, and then down to see Santa. This year we wouldn't have been able to do that just because of the area where we do that would have been quite small, and it wouldn't have been safe to put anyone in there. So this year we did Santa in the barn. So we were able to facilitate kids having their Santa visits at a safe distance, and I'll just play this little video. So this is how Santa was giving his presents and parcels to the kids. We're lucky that the Leahys are quite the team of innovators, and always have an invention on hand, or an innovation, as I said. But they're always coming up with new and fun things around the farm. And we just did it as an outdoor event, so people were able to go up the farm, visit the animals, do their barrel train ride, go visit Santa. Then they could drop by the old cottage where I mentioned earlier that Eddie was born and some of his kids were, and Mrs. Claus was in there, and they could meet her at the door, and she could have a chat with them and just interact, but safely. And that's something we didn't want to lose, is the interaction. No matter what we add to the farm, the biggest hit with all of the kids and families is the interaction, and that interaction with petting time. And it's those simple things, yes, there's the diggers, yes, there's the barrel train, but it's just that human interaction and having the crack. We're big fans of the crack, and having a bit of fun and having a laugh. And that's really something that we find really resonates with our audience. So the ice cream that I mentioned, the ice cream was a new venture in the last number of years. And when we built the ice cream and chocolate factory, we kind of got more and more into it. So the ice cream is made with our own cow's milk on the farm. And at 4 o'clock each day, kind of during the summer period, kids can come and watch Daisy the cow being milked. So it's really great to educate them in terms of like where their food comes from. They get to see the cow being milked, and then they can go down to the ice cream and chocolate factory, and they can see into the kitchen where we are making the ice cream. And we make it in so many different flavors. There's new flavors every week nearly, and it definitely is not great for my waistline, but we won't dwell. We will not dwell. But we're really delighted that in the last year we've been able to stock the ice cream in a number of shops in Cork and West Waterford. So it's stocked in a number of super values, Middleton, Fermoy, Youghal, Centras, it's in Sage to Go, and we're also recently launched in the Ballymaloe Cookery School shop and Neighbour Foods in Middleton. And we do that in 3 flavours, honeycomb, chocolate and vanilla, in a 459 gram tub. And we've recently started doing it in a 125 gram tub. So the little small, like child-friendly tubs. And we're continuing to try and get this into as many different shops and restaurants as possible. So if there are any, shops and restaurants or anyone at all that is interested in stocking the ice cream, we would definitely be interested in talking with you as well. We do the 5 litre catering size tubs, which would be more applicable to the restaurants. And we do these in more flavours, Oreo, mint, vegan chocolate, and we also do the sorbet. And again, following on from that, for events and stuff, we would do chocolates. So we can do the tractor shaped chocolates, wedding themed chocolates, and we also have the chocolate fountain and ice cream cart that we hire out to events. So if you are having events and probably not in any time soon, but down the line, and you're looking for some ice cream and chocolate, definitely get in contact. And then corporate events and ticket sales. So we would do a lot of, well, we would have done a lot of corporate events for companies like Johnson & Johnson and the refinery down in Whitegate as well, where companies would bring their staff for family days out. Haven't done any this year, but we have maintained the ticket sales. So we would do this with hotels and businesses where they would buy the tickets in bulk at the start of the season at a reduced rate, and then they can either sell them to their staff or to their guests, or include them in a package, and they can then come down to the farm. We also do discount cards as well. So some companies we sell 10% discount cards to, or do like a discount program with them. And again, we are open to collaborating with businesses on that as well. So we can do it as we sell you X amount of tickets at the start of the season, or we can do it on a basis where we would invoice you at the end of the season, whatever works. And if you do want any more information on that, feel free to contact me. So I've rambled at you and ranted at you there for the last while. I just want to say a huge thank you to the guys for having me on this morning. There's just a selection and a roundup of pictures of Leahy's and myself and Eddie there. But I look forward to when the farm can reopen and hopefully having some of you down. If you do need to contact me, you can get me at info@leahysopenfarm.ie or connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always telling students that I do talks with, the power of LinkedIn is huge. But again, if anyone is looking at collaborating or wants to inquire about anything, we're open to talking about everything and anything. You know, we're not opposed to anything. We're very much flexible and open to things. So I'll finish off there and thank you again.
Thanks, Katrina. That's such a lovely presentation, and your love for the place definitely comes through. You can feel it in your voice, and when you're talking about the place, I mean, I can attest to the chocolate bunny molds from last Easter. They're fab. So if you're in a situation that you have to go and think outside the box with those type of activities for this year, best of luck with it again. And I think anybody who is on here and is interested in any aspect of what you spoke about, whether it be for the staff days out, or the hotel guest days out, or the corporate events, then they can get in touch with you, which is great. I'm just going to let Anne introduce our next guest, Ewan. I hope I get it right. Ewan Patterson from Clonakilty Distillery. So over to you, Anne.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, last but not least, Ewan, after two great presentations there, I'm delighted to welcome you. Ewan is the Visitor Experience Manager at Clonakilty Distillery, which is located in the heart of Clonakilty town. The distillery opened in 2018, and Ewan is going to give us a presentation there. Over to you, Ewan.
Thank you very much, Anne, and thanks to everyone at Pure Cork for allowing us to come and present to you all this morning. A great initiative, well done, congratulations on these familiarisation meetings, and thanks to everyone for joining this morning. It's great to see a crowd from all sorts of areas of the tourism industry. So yeah, Clonakilty Distillery, we are in the heart of Clonakilty town, 50 minutes west of Cork City, and we are a gin and whiskey producer. The town of Clonakilty is a coastal town. We are well known for our famous black pudding coming from the town. Also lots of history down in this area. Michael Collins was born just a short distance west of Clonakilty. The town itself has, when we can, in better times, has got a vibrant Irish pub and music scene. and we've also got some incredible award-winning beaches, less than 10 minutes drive from Clonakilty town itself. The bottom photograph there is of one of the beaches at Inchydoney, and the surf school are actually in the surf when that photograph was getting taken. Stunning coastline. I am blessed and so lucky to be in lockdown down here in Clonakilty with the area that I've got to explore, even within my limited 5 kilometres. So the distillery itself was founded by a family, Michael and Helen Scully. That's them pictured there holding the bottles. Michael's family have been farming the land just outside Clonakilty town for 8 generations. His daughter, Cleena, works in our marketing department. Their eldest son, Sean, is our brand ambassador in the US, and their younger son, Connor, also helps out in various aspects of the business. So it's a family business, and it's an absolute pleasure to work for them and the small team that we have here in Clonakilty. And I guess our favourite buzz phrase is that we craft spirits to feed the soul. Everything that we're doing here is done with passion, it's done with great care, and part of that is welcoming people to come in and see how we're crafting these spirits. So when people come to do the distillery tour, they can immerse themselves in our story. Within our story room, there's some nice displays there of the history of the town. Clonakilty is known as the brewery town to many because of its long history of brewing here. The story room also has some nice maps of the area and a bit about the history of the Scully family. Our beautiful cask room is where people at the end of their tour learn about how wooden barrels mature whiskey to create different flavours. And actually the cask room is also a fantastic meeting room, so we can also hire that out for corporate meetings. We can do a tour during lunchtime if people want a break from the meeting, that kind of thing. And we also have our own small cinema where visitors get the opportunity to fly over the beautiful coastline, over the Scully farm and out to the Gallyhead lighthouse. So it's often a talking point, and then I tell people how to actually physically get there, and they can go out and visit that stunning part of the coastline. So the distillery tour itself, the standard tour, it lasts 75 minutes. It's fully guided, and I am incredibly proud of the small tour team that we have here. Their knowledge on Irish whiskey, Irish gin, the production process, the history of Irish whiskey, it's second to none. We've got a fantastic team. During all lockdowns, none of the tour team were forced to go onto the pandemic unemployment payment. The team at the moment, when I'm here doing this kind of thing and running our online shop, my team are up at our warehouse bottling hand sanitizer, bottling whiskey, bottling gin. So testament to Michael Scully and the rest of the team here to keep the team employed. So when we do get to reopen, I'll have my team ready to go. So it's a multi-sensory experience. We are a working distillery, so when you come in, you get to smell the fermentation and the barley. You get to see the new make spirit, the Ishkabaha, running off the stills. You'll often get the opportunity to chat with the production team because they're on the floor that you're walking on. So it's a real close-up, multi-sensory, immersive experience. You get to see the production process right from the start through to the end. And interestingly, Michael Scully's farm, he grows heritage barley that we are using to produce whiskey, and he also has a large dairy herd, and that dairy herd in turn provide whey alcohol that we use to produce gin. So it is a real farm to glass process that we have. The highlight of the distillery tour for many is the tasting in the speakeasy bar. And we don't just pour you a glass and let you get on with it. We'll give you some tips how to get the most out of tasting a whiskey or a gin. We'll give you some serving tips. We'll give you some information to take away and impress your friends the next time you're sitting in a bar and ordered a whiskey. You can impress them with your nosing and tasting skills. So yeah, the speakeasy, a nice place to relax and have a guided tasting after your tour. We also have a gin school, the Minky Gin School at the distillery. This is one for the real gin fans. It is a 2-hour experience. I'm actually sitting in our gin room at the moment, which is why the sound is a little bit echoey for you. The gin room is where we introduce guests to a range of botanicals that can be used to create gin. They then get to select their own botanicals, weigh them out, take them over to the distillery, and then distill their own bottle of gin to take home at the end of the school. So that's a 2-hour experience. We normally run that on Saturday nights. However, for groups, we can arrange to run it anytime when we've got availability. But yeah, for gin fans, if you want to distill your own spirit for drinking in Ireland, the only legal way to do it is in a distillery, and we can help you do that down in Clonakilty. The all good visitor experiences, of course, finish in our distillery gift shop. One of the highlights here for whiskey fans is that you can actually fill a bottle yourself, and we will personalise the label for you with your name on it. We've got some nice gifts, gin and whiskey accessories, as well as our own products. And again, we have put that shop online, so it's available at clonakiltydistillery.ie, and we're doing free shipping across Ireland for the foreseeable future as well. So that's the distillery shop. So we're very proud of the feedback we get from both customers and industry. TripAdvisor, love it or hate it, it's there, and yeah, we're so far, touch wood, we're loving the feedback that we're getting. Obviously, in the current uncertain times, the safety of our staff and visitors is top priority. So we were one of the very first distilleries in Ireland to obtain the Fáilte Ireland COVID-19 Safety Charter. We have just recently, a couple of weeks ago, been awarded highly commended in the Craft Producer of the Year category from the Icons of Whisky Awards. And the environment is incredibly important to us at the distillery. We are members of Bord Bia's Origin Green programme, and we also sponsor whale and dolphin conservation because we are a maritime distillery. I'm conscious of time, so I am running through things quite quickly, folks. But we have got a nice large car park on site. The distillery is fully accessible. Whale's Tail restaurant is right next door. We're obviously focused on adults coming to visit, but families are certainly welcome. The children under 8 are free, and it's a reduced price for under 18s. The standard distillery tour, including a tasting of 2 gins or 2 whiskies, is €18 per adult. You can pay more to taste more whiskies and more expensive and rare whiskies if you like. Minky Gin School is €59. That includes your 2-hour experience, gin and tonic, to relax as you explore different botanicals, and it includes your 500ml bottle of personalised your own distilled gin to take home. We do have rates for groups, for industry that are looking for FIT customers to visit us, or the meeting and conference type customers. If you're in this area at one of the other venues, then we're happy to talk to you to see how we can add something different to your event. We have got some fantastic accommodation around the town of Clonakilty. It ranges from 4-star hotels right through to a campsite within walking distance. We are on the Wild Atlantic Way. You can easily get on the bus from Cork City down to Clonakilty, both with Bus Airn and West Cork Connect. And it's a great time to spend a day in, wandering around the boutique shops, the cafes, coffee shops, or bars, but even nicer to spend a night or a couple of nights down in West Cork and get to explore some sites like this. So yeah, you'll find me on LinkedIn, happy to connect with anyone that wants to chat about what we could provide for them. When I'm not in the distillery and I'm not on LinkedIn, you'll find me down here next to this little ruined cottage, looking out over the Gallyhead Lighthouse, next to our barley fields. That's how I spend my time relaxing, is exploring the West Cork coast. So yeah, if you have any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer them. We are across social media platforms. If you want to do a virtual tour of the distillery, then look for us on YouTube, and you've got a 60-second tour, you've got a slightly longer tour, and you've got all sorts of other content there if you want to hear more about our products.
Thanks, Ewan. Thanks very much. That is, the imagery and everything looks amazing, and I've attended a meeting at Clonakilty Distillery, and it just went so smoothly, and it was such a unique experience. So I think there'll be a lot of people. I don't know if anybody has any direct questions for any of our 3 presentations. We're going to go on a little bit longer than normal, so I appreciate people's time might be coming to an end. But if anybody has any comments or anything, either for the 3 presentations today or in general, anybody like? Oh yes, Aisling Mead has her hand up there. You're on mute there, actually, Aisling. But
it takes me so long to unmute. I think I'm the slowest unmuter in the world. What?
We were saying earlier, it's going to be the T-shirt of 2021-22. You're on mute.
It reminds me, I don't know if anybody ever seen The Modern Family, where they're trying to teach the granddad to double click. Well, that's me with unmute. I just have one comment that I want to make for the Crawford Gallery, which was, I really think that this online interactive stuff that you have in the future could be really used for, longer engagement with groups. So I work with educational groups, and they're always looking for, they don't just want to be there for the period that they're visiting, they also would like, you know, longer engagement. So it's great, even though, you know, I'm sure we'd much prefer to be doing things live. Some of these things will last into the future. And then I just have one like practical question for Ewan, which is, what size groups can you take, Ewan, in the distillery?
Yeah, good question. So normally our group size for taking round a tour is 15, because we like to keep it small and personal. However, we can accommodate coach groups as well. The biggest we did was last summer. It was 2 coaches, and they were using 2 coaches because they were distancing between the pods on the coach. And we ran tours with 10-minute intervals. So we can go from that small, personal, private 2 or 3 people wanting a really kind of luxury experience. We can arrange for them to meet the distillers. They can meet Michael Scully. We can take them out to the warehouse. So we'll tailor what was needed. But yeah, we'll go from 2 to 50.
Okay, thanks. I'll try
Evelyn,
and mute
may I
myself.
just come in there for a second?
Diane, yeah, you want to come in?
Yeah, just with regard to the comment on the information from Crawford and the resource, just to say that our website is very extensive, and anyone can go on there and you can find resources that are there year round. But particularly, I mean, if anyone is doing exams or anything like that, you'll find teachers' resources, students' resources. There's a wealth of information there that stays there every year. So I hope
Yeah,
you
that's
enjoy
great.
it.
I'm going to look at it now, Diane. Thanks very much.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
That's great. Yeah. Anybody else have any other comments or anything? We've got some of our key hoteliers there. I suppose I'm not sure if people would be too keen if we start calling. I know we're running out of time anyway, but I see Karen, your smiling face there, Karen Fleming from Hayfield. Do you have any comments or anything before we finish up?
Oh, I love all these stories. I got to chat to Ewan and Katrina and Mary last year when we were doing our Destination Cork series. So I loved listening in again. I just think we're so lucky. We've so much stuff here in Cork. It's amazing. And I'm like, can we get there ourselves again soon? I can't wait. I can't wait to get to West Cork and into Crawford and out to Leahy. It's just going to be great when we can move around. So thank you to everyone. Really, really interesting. And thank you to Evelyn and everyone at Pure Cork for putting these on.
Great, thanks very much. And we've had some comments on the chat as well. And even Maureen, I know you're a tour guide yourself and saying that you've put this into your weekly Wednesday diary. So that's great. And in Jeremy, I'm not sure, do we have anything else to?
Evelyn, I think Mary wants to come back in there from Crawford.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I suppose what's really interesting for us in Crawford and listening in to the other 2 presentations today, I think what's unique about this part of Ireland is we've got great products, we've got great hotels, great restaurants, great people running cultural and visitor attractions. And I think what Pure Cork and what we're doing more together is collaborating, because looking at the Leahy's farms and the distillery, and I know Glucksman were on last week, like imagine the multiple layers of experiences that we can sell. And I think if we're into the distinctive domestic market for the next while, it's all those different stories that we're very well open for these repeat visits with your support. And I think it's about enabling people that they can have us all in kind of bite-sized chunks at their own leisure, actually. So we're really excited to be part of this. And really, I suppose it's a call out to particularly the sectors in the hospitality sector, that we in Crawford are really behind you and really are setting up programs with the visitor in mind, that we really are trying to attract people to this part of Ireland physically from the autumn on or from when they can.
That's a very interesting comment, Mary. Yeah, actually, it really makes sense, especially when we're all in this kind of sphere together, even today and beyond today. You know, it's very interesting. Yeah, the different worlds colliding, all for the same reason and need, really. You know, so that's great. We'll be back again next week. Next week we have the Toy Soldier factory in Macroom, and we have the Everyman Theatre in Cork City, and we have Bantry Bay Boat Hire. So make sure you join us again next Wednesday. Jeremy will be going out with the registration emails, so make sure to sign up for week 5. We're getting such interest, we're thinking we'll keep going up to 10 weeks. So that's great. You know, again, you know, more than 70 people here today. So that's fantastic to see. So have a great rest of Wednesday. enjoy a nice walk or something now if you can get the chance to do so. And we'll hope to see everybody again next Wednesday. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.